By the end of the Civil War's second year, Union forces in the West controlled much of the Mississippi River, except for one vital stretch. Few Northern boats tested the strong Confederate river batteries at Port Hudson or at Vicksburg.
The location was strategically important for the Union to capture because it would physically break the Confederacy in two. President Abraham Lincoln even stated that Vicksburg, Mississippi was the key to winning the Civil War. He also said that the war can never be brought to a close until that key was in our pocket. In late 1862, the Union tried several times to obtain this site but had no luck. On May 18th through July 4th, 1863, the famous Siege of Vicksburg happened. The Union, under the control of handsome General Grant, aka me, and the Confederacy under the commands of a hooligan Southerner general known as General Pemberton.
Well, Tippecanoe and how to do? Are we really having a flashback to this right now?
Well, as I recall, in high school, you were voted most likely to secede. And why are you so scared to tell these young fellas that I whooped your butt?
Well, I'd at least like them to hear my side as well. It was back in the summer of 1862 when the Union soldiers tried and failed to capture Vicksburg, Mississippi. It took them 2 failed attempts.
Well, third time's a charm. Then, the third attempt on May 18, 1863, I attacked Vicksburg. A direct assault with intent to take over the city. My Union Navy had already prevented other regiments from joining the Confederate General C. Pemberton at Vicksburg. But the southern city surprisingly held strong that day. I, however, did not stop there and settled down to a 6-week siege surrounding the city.
Left, right, left. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left.
Cutting off their supply lines, firing upon Vicksburg continually, and moving in so close that they were in shouting distance. Us Yankees are going to win the battle and the war.
You fight like a girl.
By mid-June, 80,000 Union troops camped on the Mississippi River bluffs above the city. To escape shells, Vicksburg residents left their homes for caves and city hills. The Union soldiers called this maze of dugouts Prairie Dog Village. The people of the village were starving and tired, but still held on to hope, which I personally thought was useless.
I was up in my room, sewing and praying in my heart, when Nancy, my servant girl, rushed up, actually pale. Nancy warned of the falling shells, which sent people rushing into caves. Just as we got in, several shells exploded. Just over our heads, and at the same time, 2 riders were killed in the valley. As all this rushed over me, and the sense of suffocation from being underground, the certainty that there was no way of escape, that we were hemmed in, caged. For one moment my heart seemed to stand still. Nearly all the families in the town spent the night in their caves.
Anyway, as I was saying, by the 44th day with no supplies coming into town, the editor of Vicksburg Daily Citizen was reduced to printing his news on wallpaper. He wrote that I, General Ulysses S. Grant, wish to celebrate the 4th of July dining in Vicksburg. Little did the writer know that on July 4th, 1863, Pemberton surrendered to me. Finding the newspaper, Grant's men added to the paragraph declaring that Grant indeed dined in Vicksburg and celebrated Independence Day. At the beginning of this battle, I had 75,000 engaged soldiers ready to fight. But still, winning had its price to pay. Sadly, 4,800 of my men were killed by those dang Confederates.
Yes, I started with several thousand less than the Union, but all 34,000 stood strong and fought hard against the enemy. I lost 3,300 to death caused by diseases and battle wounds, but an extra 30,000 soldiers were captured and sent to Union prison camps. So what can we learn from the Battle of Vicksburg? One word: leadership.
A contrast in leadership makes all the difference. I inspired my troops, led from the front when I needed to, and made decisive decisions.
I was reluctant and hesitant to make a decision. I worried that my officers didn't trust me, and probably the best decision I ever made was surrendering to him.
Yeah, it was.
Let's look at my life after the siege. The Confederacy had been irritably divided east and west. I found the Confederate government was no longer willing to entrust me with high command, and remarkably, I decided to resign my commission and attempted to re-enlist as a private. Southern President Jefferson Davis commissioned me a lieutenant colonel of artillery instead.
My life after the siege. My reputation as a fighter who won tough battles was cemented at Vicksburg, and by the following summer, I would be in command of all Union armies in the fields. I came to regret my decision to parole the Vicksburg garrison, however. Most of its men re-enlisted without being exchanged for Union prisoners, and was accustomed putting thousands more rifles back into the Southern ranks. As a result, I would virtually halt prisoner exchanges when he was promoted to command all armies. A decision that perhaps shortened the war, but also condemned thousands of prisoners, North and South, to prolonged incarceration and death in the unsanitary conditions of overcrowded prisoner of war camps.
It was at the Siege of Vicksburg, of Vicksburg, of Vicksburg. It was at the Siege of Vicksburg when the parrot shells were whistling through the air. Listen to the parrot shell, listen to the parrot shell. The parrot shell whistling through the air. Listen to the parrot shell, listen to the parrot shell. The parrot shell whistling through the air. November, and the mini balls that whistle through the air. Listen to the mini balls, listen to the mini balls that whistling through the air. Listen to the mini balls, listen to the mini balls that are whistling through the air.
Well, I'd at least like these chillin' Sorry. The beard's really soft. Yours kind of looks like dreads.
I need to put some on gray. As I recall, back in high school, you were voted most likely to succeed. And why are you scared to tell these young fellas that you had to surrender to me and that I whooped your butt?
What? We can cut this out. We're good.
could never be brought to a close until that key was in our pocket. In late
Oh, when there's a car. Salutation. What does that mean?
When are you gonna surrender to me already? I'm going.
Supply list. Tampons. Note card. Chicken wire. Evergreen tree. Cardboard. Dirt. Moss. Newspaper. Rocks. Spray adhesive craft glue. Glue gun. Paintbrushes. Soldiers painted by us. Acrylic paints. Q-tips. Toothpicks. Flour and water for paper mache. Old suit jackets. Fake beards from Halloween costumes. 4x5 board. Felt. Bailey's grandfather's military jacket. Old doll accessories. Floppy hat. Father's boot.